Hey guys, this is Heath Whitmore with DTN Progressive Farmers Innovations in the Field. It's September the 17th, and we're in the process of cutting our first soybean field for the fall. We've been done with corn for about a week, been done with grain sorghum for a couple of weeks. Started the season out, I guess, in January. We did one of these little video clips, and we started talking about counting the cost of what we had going on this year. It's been kind of a trying year, as I'm sure some of y'all can identify with. With depressed commodity prices and input still at a pretty high rate, it's been a little tough to see a bottom line on some of the stuff that we've done. Hadn't been a real good year for gambling, but it has turned out to be kind of a year of extremes weather-wise. I know for y'all in the Midwest, it's been excessively wet from the start to now even. It's had late planting and then crops held back by the rains. We've had kind of the opposite. We had a pretty wet spring to start, but as we came out of spring, transitioned into summer, we got a rain about the last week of May. Didn't get anything in June. Got one good rain about July, around the first week of July, and haven't had anything over about a half of an inch since then. Luckily, the good Lord's blessed us with a lot of water. We irrigate about 100% of our crop. This field that we're cutting here behind me has been watered about 6 times. With our soybeans, we run on about a 10-day schedule between sets, and it usually takes 2 to 4 days depending on the size of the field and how far the length of the field, on how much water you have and kind of pressure that you have on how long that you'll let it run. But kind of what I wanted to talk about today was most of our farm, or almost 100% of it, we run a minimum to no-till situation. And I know if we're trying to cut back some costs, one of the first things people look at is cutting back on inputs. And you know, I think that can be a very large mistake. If you're putting anything into your crop that you can see a return off of, even if it's just a break even most years, but some years it makes you money, why would you want to take that away? So where we're looking to cut crops is cutting back number of passes in a field for equipment, taking less hours off some of our stuff. It'll save us on maintenance, it'll save us on diesel costs, and it'll save us in labor. So if I've heard this mentioned around here a lot, and if you're looking to go that route, I guess what I'm wanting to focus on right now is this pass that this combine's making is in essence the first pass that's getting this field ready for the crop that's coming in there next spring. So starting right now at harvest, we have some decisions to make. We need to know what's going to go back on this field, whether it's going to be corn or soybeans or grain sorghum or rice. We need to know what we're going to do to it this fall. Even earlier than that, I guess, with our setup, we got to make sure our combine's spreading correctly. Every acre that we have has to be hipped up so that we can run water down the rows and so that it'll drain. So right now we got to be thinking whether or not we're hurting these beds out here, whether the grain cart's turned around on them. We try to make sure that they run out the ends and turn, and not turn around to stop up any drainage or to prevent water from running during irrigation. It's a pretty big focus. This year we're looking at planting about 150 acres of cover crop. Last year we had about 50. Trying to figure out where we're going to put that, what blend we're going to go with, depending on what crop's going on there next spring. But all these decisions are not stuff that we need to wait until December and January and February to make. They kind of got to start right now. And so if you're watching this, that's really what I'm wanting to focus on, is that this combine coming through the field, like I said, is making the first pass, getting this field ready to plant next spring. And so all our decisions are starting right now. This particular field was in beans last year, was in corn the year before. We haven't rerun the rows or reconditioned the beds in 2 years. So we know for sure that either this fall or next spring we'll have to run a hipper through there to redo the beds. Normally what we do is we run a fall burn down with a residual to kill anything we have growing, to hold off winter vegetation, and then we'll come in next spring, put the fertilizer out, and then hip that fertilizer into the beds. This year, and with the new push in these cover crops, the cost to plant the cover crops is coming out about the same as what some of the burn down chemicals that we run cost. So there's not a lot of difference there. And so we're trying to weigh whether we're gonna up our acreage from what we had originally planned in the cover crops or just stay with the burn down. But anyway, that'll be different depending on your location, depending on the weather that you get. Right now it's so dry here, we don't have enough moisture in the soil to actually get cover crop to sprout. So we're in a holding pattern right now. We're just cutting and getting everything ready, getting our poly pipe picked up, and getting prepared to plant it if we do catch a shower. So that's really all I have for you today. I'm about to get over noise by the combines and stuff, so I appreciate it, and thank you for watching this.